resolution there. The city, I think, now has their resolution there or on the way. And the city was comfortable with their kind of silent speed measurement, and they thought that probably there's a good chance that they will reduce the speed based on the way they study it. It's basically they study all the cars' speeds, and then they made sometimes out here when we lost 2 people out here, they increased it 5 miles an hour. But by the same token, we've never had a fatality since then, and if the traffic's going at a regular speed that the normal driver would go, I guess they consider that that's the safest way to go. You got somebody like a granny that doesn't like to go over 20 miles an hour, that can create accidents. So it's a complicated business. So we'll probably be hearing back sometime in the next couple of months, a month or 2. Hopefully they'll do it before it gets real snowy and yucky out. We should have something in place. And the other thing, and you've gotten some of the information from the consideration for sidewalk from the city limits to the Walmart Drive. And this, part of what's with this group, what we sent to MDOT, we also have what Steve gave us as far as all this data on his kind of silent measurer out there. And this kind of shows the whole area. And there's, as far as walking, or there's a walking area and that sort of thing, there's no sign of any destruction of the grass or anything once you go beyond that first Walmart driveway. And I talked to Mike Ozer yesterday, and he said that he tried to come up with some figures. What's difficult is that when MDOT put that in, because they didn't anticipate sidewalks, and they don't particularly like sidewalks out in a rural area like that with the big box stores, but they realized because of the cow path like things for that first little section down past the waterbed store, and that'd be very easy to put a sidewalk in there, but because they put those big aluminum rails almost from the waterbed store all the way down to that first driveway, and there's just no way to make any room for a sidewalk in between them. So what he's talking about, and this is the picture that we gave you a little while ago, that showed that they actually put in a retaining wall, and hopefully wouldn't have to hurt the wetland, because if you hurt the wetland, then you've got to replace frogs and things. I don't know how that works, but it's so he thinks that this might be, it'd have to be on the other side of that rail unless MDOT decided to move the traffic rail that keeps people from a car from going down into that kind of deep ditch. So it's he was going to try to get some figures to us, and I didn't get them today. He was pretty busy, and he said he could give us at least some direction, and when we get that, I'll get that out to all of you. You probably can send it right to each one of you on your internets.
These figures aren't close to what in his letter? So much a square foot?
No, he gave us an estimation, but he was not real certain.
Just to give us an idea.
Yeah, he was not real certain that with the backside, if the sidewalk is going to have a rail, because it's going to be a deep retaining wall there. So that's going to take some additional money, and he gave us his best guesstimate, but he said he couldn't nail it down real closely because he's got to get some more field work done out there. And if the board's willing, we can at least allow him an amount that would make him at least give him more study on site. And he's not certain about that. I talked to him about the back side of the rails, and he wasn't sure about the safety part of that. course, I suppose you could put a rubber bumper along the back of those that could go down. And Rich had an idea about maybe coming in behind Venlo there, but that's a kind of, you know,
Something to look at.
it's property that's not acquired yet or anything, it's not the road right away. And it's, when MDOT put in Perry Street there was no road, and they have bought the waterbed store. I don't think he realized that you're almost to his front door before the MDOT's.
What's the possibility of eliminating the east deceleration lane?
Last time I met down there with the fellas in Grand Rapids, it was like, can't happen.
I think the only way that could happen, Dave, is if they were to eliminate the entire east drive going into Walmart. That would be the only way, because if you took out that deceleration lane, you'd have, if the speed limit's at 55, you have no...
Then you got that gas station right there, that
that
drive services them.
No, that drive doesn't service them. The drive is east of them. They have a drive on both sides of the gas station. This drive goes into the gas station. This drive goes nowhere except into Walmart.
Got no sidewalk. You got
Oh, you're right.
pedestrian.
That's the only way that deceleration.
And that's not something that's
is if
usually-
that.
It's not even
But it's still a
necessary.
problem. I mean, it's,
Because
That's
that area,
that's the
people
only
are
way that
walking
could
down.
happen.
They
And-
actually have that.
you've got multiple exit entrances feeding into a 5 lanes.
Correct.
But what they did when we
So you
took,
got 3 issues, not one, really.
well, and Walmart had 2 driveways, but because when we finally, and it took us 8 years to get them to pull out that high-speed,
Yep.
that high-speed ramp, and that's the closest they would go. They made them close one. We took the light away and put it at the only place that gave us any safety level for the schools, for the buses to get in and out of there. And it runs in the face of what MDOT would think was a safe and good thing to do, but the high school opted to go out there, so we didn't have much to say about it, so.
But if that,
In theory, if that east drive was closed and the deceleration lane was eliminated, then we would have more of a buffer where the sidewalk could go in. But the logistics of doing that, we don't know.
Well, they said absolutely not to me.
They might
but
be able to
they
tell
might
us.
change
yes or
their
no,
mind.
I mean, I know we're
Right.
not the...
That just
But
is
you're gonna
another
have to-
possibility.
Right.
Well, in any event, we're going to, if it's okay with the board, I'm going to tell Mike to go ahead and get some figures and come. He's going to, next time he's down this way, he's going to do some further investigation. But they said they absolutely positively no way would they take that deceleration lane out of there. They already took the biggest driveway away from Walmart, closed it right up. And of course, they still could go down, and it's very close to Walmart. In fact, when you're coming off the road in where it crosses there, it looks like you see Walmart before you see Myers. And Myers stood all the money. It was at $1.4 million, I think, for the buying up all that land in order to get a safe crossing. And then they also ended up putting in the road that we promised that we would do, and there was no money for us to do it, and they put that on through. So, and I don't think there's any chance that they would.
Why can't you do a boardwalk?
Well, it's.
I mean, can that just be brought up though? A boardwalk against that across that march, so you don't have to tear apart
Well,
the
it's
east side
the
drive?
security of it as far as they'd have to have a really steady base and it
But
gets slippery in the winter
It's something that
time.
can be brought up, right?
And it's
Sure,
hard.
anything's...
Well, it can be brought
Nothing's
up,
off the
but in
table.
order to put a boardwalk in, you've got to have posts in a marsh. And then you get the DEQ involved in putting a stick in the ground that, like Mickey said, might disrupt a frog, and God help disrupting the frog.
Has Mike got any idea for what fund he's looking at, as far as authorizing him to do
The two, no, but he's,
I see a number based on construction.
No.
the thing is, MDOT talked as though they might be willing to participate with us.
So maybe it's premature to have Mike do any more than what we are, so after we talk to MDOT?
Well, yeah, and they've now got all our information, and that's, it's gonna be tough, because they've got the cost of putting in those guardrails that cover trucks or anything else that might hit and go down into that deep ditch are gonna be, that's gonna be horrendously expensive to
Would it be prudent to have
move those.
Mike attend the MDOT meeting?
He's talked to them. In fact, he's sent some stuff back and forth to them. The stuff that we've gotten, he's sent to them too. So it's not gonna happen in a minute, but we're gonna stand
No,
up
I
with
think we
some-
need to schedule an appointment
With them, that's
Yeah,
the
I
first
think
thing.
that's-
We aren't gonna know anything
Next
until we
week.
talk to
We
them.
you have the dates available every year.
The week after Thanksgiving?
The 19th.
The 19th, 20th, 21st, 27th, 28th, 29th.
27th through the 20th, that week, I can another time.
28th.
You shut down the shop.
Yeah.
Shoot for the 28th.
Seriously, you don't have this, I'm looking at it.
Go for the 28th.
28th is 9 a.m. or
9
and
a.m.
3
and 3
p.m.
p.m.
Either early morning or late afternoon.
Either one.
Either one.
And one of the guys that sent in at one of the meetings I was at, did talk about, trying to get some of the money, grant money that might be
But I think we
available.
ought to have Mike attend that meeting too, so everybody's on the same page.
Okay, I tried to leave him a message today to be sure that none of these dates were now off the table, so pick another one just in case.
I was just gonna say, this came in on the 24th, so.
He wasn't available.
Between then and now, we don't know whether these dates are available.
So the 27th or the 29th,
That's okay with me.
Try for the later ones though, the 3 or the 3:30 if you can. It'll help John.
You're going the 28th, 29th, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
27, 28, 29.
Wait, copy that.
Do
all
that.
right. Here.
Sure.
But I think Mike has been talking to them. I think he knows what is feasible, what we can do and can't do. I think it wouldn't hurt to have him look closer at it and give us a better estimate. Then when they do come, we'll know what we're asking for, assistance-wise, funding, the safety grant, or...
So we need to authorize some money to get that.
Yep.
Yeah, yes, we do, but I have no idea what that would be.
He's usually
It's
pretty,
$1,000.
28, 29.
should be, if he gets into detail stuff with MDOT and stuff, that's something he's gonna plus for, but I would think that would be.
Authorize $1,000 for professional services. Mike, was it?
Is there a second?
What was that? I didn't hear.
$1,000. Up to $1,000 to retain progressive engineering.
Got it.
Motion and a second.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Will you call the roll?
Cumberland? Hamlin?
Yes.
Curry?
Yes.
Smith? Yes. Jensen?
Yes.
McGuire?
Yes.
Gilbert? Yes. McClellan? Are we gonna let Mike know when we set up the date,
Yeah.
them that just in case he's available?
Okay, you have the dates
Let
for
them know ahead.
November 28th and 29th, 28th at 3 or the 29th at 3:30. I will get in touch with Bart Franklin and MDOT and let you all know. And forward it to Mike as well.
Okay.